I'm actually starting to get excited about the Galaxy Z Fold 4. I wasn't before. We had talked about how they were going to make the outer display slightly bigger, but until I saw this leak today that I'm going to show you in just a moment, it wasn't clicking in my brain how much of an improvement that this was going to be. A couple of things of note. Number one, link in the description. Use it. Sign up. It's no commitment and no money, but at least you get yourself on the list for the pre-order, which will give you that $200 in Samsung credit at the store, whatever it happens to be. So if you do wind up getting it, you get that $200. You can put it towards a Galaxy Watch. You can put it towards some cases. I know the first-party Samsung stuff, especially the cases, have been hit or miss the last couple of years, but we can all agree that no matter whether they're good or bad, they're always overpriced. So go ahead and get that $200. And it's important because Samsung charges all of the money, but they do give you some avenues to at least claw back some value, so make sure to take advantage of those. The other thing that the link can do is you can kind of get your trade-ins prepared and see what you're going to be able to get. So get that S7 out of the closet, get that S8 out of the closet that's been sitting there collecting dust, and make sure its last full measure of devotion is at least for a worthy cause. Get yourself $100, $200 off. The phone's going to sit there anyway. You're never going to use it again. At least you can soften the blow of the price of some of these devices. Okay, so Ice Universe, the Samsung leaker extraordinaire, the Scottish Fold cat icon Twitter account. This is the one. This is basically going to be I would assume, an advertisement type image that we're going to see following the August 10th reveal. But this is the image, and I'll put it up on the screen, that brought it home for me. This is the one that made me excited and say, okay, maybe, despite those little drawings and renders that made the outer display seem bigger, maybe they finally understand what's going on. Because not only is the outer display bigger, but they've changed the aspect ratio and the shape of the device as well. And I like what they've done. It seems like they've gone for something that is an in-between, a compromise between what they had on the Fold 2 and the Fold 3 and that Oppo Find N. I understand they wouldn't want to go all the way to the Oppo Find N side because that'd be really changing the style of the device entirely. But I do like that they've made it a little bit shorter, all right, a little bit less, a little bit shorter and a little bit squatter. So the width is a bit bigger. And I know we're talking millimeters, but I'm telling you, it's going to make a significant difference. And there's that other image here that was less convincing to me. It was really that first one that brought it home for me. And if you've used, every time I pull my Fold 2 back out, I'm done with this outer display. I'm not a swipe typer. I'm not somebody that sits there and does that and uses it one hand. I think it's a little bit tall at this point in time. I think the design itself is a little bit dated now in 2022. I was looking for a bigger swing from Samsung in terms of the outer display, and I'm comforted at least slightly. We'll see when it releases and when it comes in, whether they've done it or not, but I feel like we're finally going to get that. And that little bit wider, I'm telling you, even if it's only a few millimeters, that is going to make the difference. If you're a bigger thumbed person like myself, it's just going to be that extra bit of comfort using the outer display. And as well, when you make the device a little bit shorter, it also improves the one-handability of it, because you don't feel when a device is tall like this and you're typing at the bottom of the screen, especially with a Fold, you're talking upwards of $2,000 device. You're being extra careful with it. You want the extra security and the grip, and so I find myself holding it higher up on the device and then my fingers are going down lower. If the device itself is a little bit shorter, you have a larger, kind of lower center of gravity on it, and you could hold it more securely in your hand and use that bottom area, that extra typing surface. And the other thing that kind of comforts me a little bit is that the last couple of years, and notably with the Fold 3, it seems like they focused on stuff that didn't matter but that people just cried about. Like that under-display camera thing. That's what we decided to worry about. That kind of disappointed me. There were so many other improvements that they could have made to the device, even the inner display, before spending all that extra money on something like the under-glass camera system that wasn't even that good to begin with. The other thing was, of course, the camera on the back. They've improved that throughout the past 2 years. I was a little worried that that was going to be one of the only improvements that we got on the Fold 4, so I'm slightly relieved now that we know that we're going to get at least significant improvements, I think, to the outer display. The other thing that they did on the Fold 3 that was kind of nonplussed about was the 120 hertz. Oh, it's 120 hertz now on both displays. Well, let me tell you this. And this is something that I've been aggravated about because I've been getting a lot of comments on the Pixel 6a, and it just shows how silly we can get with some of these devices. It could be 1,000 hertz display. If I don't enjoy the experience, and I think it could be significantly better by a different aspect ratio, I don't care what it is. And that gets back to the Pixel 6a. It gets back to a lot of devices. I don't care about the refresh rate. I care about the experience. So if they provide 120 hertz on a wider display that's more usable, that you're going to enjoy content on, the content to me now in 2022 is just too narrow on this device. And at first, it was an excellent experience because we were coming from the Fold 1, which was a disaster, that outer display. That really wasn't usable. That was like you're dealing with that Palm phone, that little itty-bitty phone that we did the review of. It was like using that as the outer display. So this was a relief on the eyes. Like, oh man, I could actually type, I could scroll, I could do stuff. And it is still fine for light scrolling. Twitter and Instagram are fine. But these narrow devices, that trend that we've seen over the last few years, if we move away from that and go to some squatter devices, that would be just fine by me. I'd have no issue with a bit wider device. I understand it makes it a little bit bulkier in the hand. But in addition to giving you that wider outer display, it also gives you a little bit more of a landscape experience inside of the phone. Because think about it, you're going to have it a little bit shorter, right? But a little bit wider out here. And I think that'll make content that much better to view on your Fold 4, your Netflix, your YouTube. I think it'll be a little bit more of a natural aspect ratio. And they didn't want to go completely Oppo Find N, because then you'd be changing the app experience, I think, a little bit too much. And I think they wanted to keep the app experience what it was on the Fold 2 and 3. And I don't blame them for that, because I think this is quite nice. First, you'll have to see the spread of the different ones on the Fold 4. But I think this is quite nice for scrolling Twitter, for using Instagram, web browsing. I do like this aspect ratio on the inside. So we'll see how much of that we're sacrificing. But I don't think it's going to be that much. And if it means that we get a that much more usable outer display, you can't have everything. Personally, that's a trade that I'm willing to make. To have the more usable outer display, the one-handability of the device. But when I'm sitting down, when I'm relaxing at the end of the day, and I open it up and I use it more in two-hand mode, whether I'm watching content, or I'm on YouTube, whether I'm just browsing Twitter or Instagram or browsing the web, that is going to be an experience that I'm going to enjoy as well. So that's weird. You know, like I said, I wish they would focus more on making the ultra-thin glass that much more sturdy. Things like the crease are kind of okay. But I like the fact that they're at least going to give us that larger outer display and more usable outer display now, instead of just giving us, oh, hey, it's an improved camera. Oh, the under display camera is much better now. Okay, that's great. You know, give us stuff that's going to affect the usability on a day-to-day, every-minute basis. And when you're out and about, you're not, for the most part, if you're walking down the street, or if you need to do something quickly, or if you're in the car, you're not opening it all the way up to go ahead and respond to those messages. A lot of them could be taken care of right on the front screen. So to see that was definitely encouraging to me. Let me know if that's going to be enough. A lot of people said that it would be. A lot of people said that the pen is the only way that they're going to get excited, the pen being inside the device, that is. I would like to see support for the pen both inside and outside, but I still won't use it. That's still a gimmick that maybe I'd use once if it's not inside. The silo isn't located inside the device. But is that enough to get you to upgrade from a 2? I don't think it should be enough to get you upgrade from a 3, but I don't know. I don't know. That usability on the outer display is a big deal, and I like the fact that they've at least made some strides to give us something better. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.